Hello everyone and welcome into round number 2 of the 2019 Versus PC Race Factor Gaming GP Series here in MX Simulator. My name is Kellen Brower here for Start Your Systems TV, bringing you action from the second round of the series in Manderley Basin in Great Britain. We are stoked to be bringing you guys the second round of the series here, the British GP. And coming up first here, it is the 250 division, obviously the MX2 class. Which is going to be a lot of fun to watch. I think we are not going to have any type of consolation races. We're just going to go straight into the motos. And speaking of the motos, this is what your qualifying times ended up being here tonight, with Isaiah Dickerson setting the pace with a 217.4, Ben Seberg 218.1, Walter Gebhardt 218.1 as well. Jack Gatlin 219.6, and Moxie on a 219.9 were your top 5 qualifiers, so we're going to keep an eye out for those guys. Just a reiteration from last week's standings. Isaiah Dickerson is your points leader after going 2-1 for first overall, and he is 2 points up on Walter Gebhardt. Hunter Porch a little distant back, 9 points down in third. Seberg and Gonzalez also rounding out your top 5. And they're going to be hitting the track right about now as we are about to get re-racked and ran for Moto number 1, Race 1 of the 2019 British GP in the MX2 division. So glad you guys could join us here tonight. Glad to be back streaming. And just glad to bring you guys some hot action here at the RFGP. Pretty fun track this week that the Race Factor Gaming crew built. Very fast and high speed for Great Britain. Usually they get rain in the forecast at this actual GP. Obviously, this year that was not the case. It was actually a great weekend at the British GP this season. So Race Factory kind of built it around that, and thus we have a pretty fast, flowy racetrack that's dry, hard-packed, and if the road is in any indication what was going down at Hangtown, at least, this is going to break down and get pretty bumpy, especially in those deeper ruts. And I'd imagine that we're going to get to about the halfway point of the race like we did back at Argentina. And guys will start changing up their lines, picking some new different ones. And that 217 that we saw from Isaiah Dickerson to go to the top of the sheets in qualifying won't be something that they will end up getting too close to. But we'll have to keep an eye out at how the track develops and whether or not these guys will go faster or slower as we get to the middle point of the races. So they're going to get lined up right now. That's what's going on right now. We're doing a lineup check as I have everybody's skins just about in this game. It takes me just a little bit longer to load in than the average Joe, so sometimes I'll have to disconnect and reconnect before we get these races underway, but hopefully I'll get loaded in this time and have no issues. There we are, we're loaded in. Okay, perfect. All right, so again, these guys out there right now on their parade lap, getting set up, getting prepared for this 30-minute plus 2-lap race number 1. Going to be a lot of hot and heavy action out here. A lot of guys looking to assert themselves towards the front of this series. We got a whole host of riders out here that are wanting to maybe win a GP this week, maybe do something a little bit more damaging than last week if they had issues or not. Try to find, here is our points leader. You'll see the red plate on the front of his bike there. Isaiah Dickerson on the number 25 MV Films machine. Whoop. Again, these guys just kind of feeling out the track one last time before we go racing. Got a lot of riders out here tonight. Let's see, how far back do we go? P27, so 27 guys on the gate for the British GP. Gonna be a fun one. 30 minutes plus 2 laps. And after it's all said and done, they just get a real short 5-minute break to try to calm those thumbs down, regroup a little bit, maybe take a breath or two. And we rack them up again for another 30 plus 2 right after that. These are quick successive motos. We try to get them in and out of here real quick. And taking a look, let's keep an eye on our points leader. He's probably going to be down the inside gate here. Yes, he is. Looks like he's got One of the DX3 riders down his inside, Walter Gebhardt on the far inside. And this is going to be a very interesting one to watch. Time to get the British GP underway live here on SYS TV. Off the drop-off and down into turn number 1. It looks like it's going to be out of the middle maybe. Is that Hughes? Jonathan Hughes on the 134 picks up the Race Tech Whole Shot Award. Dylan Copeland tries to come alongside. And there is Dickerson on the 25 trying to go to the outside and take the lead. But Hughesy shuts the door on him and goes to the front but misses the inside rut. Dickerson trying to open up his opportunity around the outside. Hughes down the inside trying to get the table down. Dickerson with a scrub. It's going to be a drive. Who gets a drive? Hughes holds on. Whoa, little mistake from Lang, and Dickerson's down. He's upside down off the bike as Hughes gets stacked up before the tabletop. So that really shifts things around. It puts Tyler Lang on the 18 out front. So Dickerson's teammate, who really had a pretty rough opening round at Hangtown. We did not see him at the MXGP of Argentina on Monday before Hangtown. Out here leading in Great Britain, so trying to get his season turned around outdoors as quickly as he possibly can. And the 18 machine goes to the front before the half lap mark is even here as these guys all try to nail that uphill triple. The uphill quad we'll see the 450 guys attempt later on. Dylan Copeland settles into second. Right behind him, Ben Seberg and Thomas Wilcox funneling in. I'll have to apologize in advance. Ben Seberg just sent me his skins before the race started, and I am still downloading them as they are a gigantic pack as he tries to go down the inside of Dylan Copeland. And he's going to make that pass. So Seberg up to second, but again, just wanted to apologize to him and his team that I don't have those skins on camera right now. We'll get them out for that second moto. But how about it? Tyler Lang on the 18 machine up to the front of the field, trying to sprint away early here in Matterley Basin. Oh, little slide job on the landing there. Track's still a little slick with no ruts yet developed, so we're going to see guys maybe searching for the smooth line. Lang maybe had a bit of a disadvantage having the lead and not being able to follow someone's line through a corner, as he leads lap number 1 here on the hills of Great Britain. Ben Seberg, hometown hero, or home track hero, I should say. Right out of the UK is Ben Seberg trying to win his home GP. And boy, what a storyline that would be if he could capitalize on an early pass and maybe try to get away with the lead early on before anybody else can get to him. Obviously, Lang's going to try to hold this thing for as long as he can, but Seberg looks like a man possessed, already closing it down. Really solid on those inside ruts. Hopping through the bumps, just doubling through up to the top of the hill. And trying to put the pressure there on Lang as they both drop down the hill. You can already see the lines developing a little bit as Lang blows out rut, goes to the middle one, and Seberg pulls alongside for the race lead. He's going to go the long way around. Let's see if that works. Oh, just a little loss of traction, loses the rear end on exit of the corner, so Lang's going to hang on for now, but Seberg still right there in tow. I think Seberg realizes that early on in this race, with the track still not as developed, as he busts the big quad on the uphill, and he lands it a little skewed on the landing there. But you can see Seberg is really attacking the track early on. It's one thing that's really important when you get a good start like this for both of these guys is to not make the big mistake that could cause you to crash, but really try to push the envelope and extend that gap early, so when you do eventually make a mistake and likely fall off the bike, as is usually a given at least once per race for these guys, there's nobody there to capitalize on it because you've already established a big enough race lead. Oh, his Lang's going to lose it, and Seberg goes into him, and he's off the bike. So just like that, Seberg was about to capitalize, and around the outside, the 80 or the 97 of Jack Gatlin, so Seberg's teammate and fellow Brit, trying to go with him and take down Tyler Lang for the lead. Oh, almost gets into the side of him. Oh, hot action already here. We're not even yet 2 laps in the books. So Gatlin trying to settle in right behind Tyler Lang here. So they go up and over the Versus PC finish line jump on to lap number 3. Gatlin getting absolutely upside down. I'm sure the hometown crowd is going to be stoked to see that one. So they both settle into that outside, try to nail that rut coming off the apex of the corner and flow into that first corner. Looks like our third place rider right now is Jordan Moxie, and it still is Seaberg that's right with him, so Seaberg was able to remount in the 4 spot. As the battle for the lead continues here, Natalie Bazin, race 1 of the 250 class. So Lang, to his credit, taking advantage of that early little slip up after Hughes went upside down and his teammate Dickerson went into him and they both crashed. Lang thus far has done a very solid job of keeping the lead to himself, fending off the attacks. A little mistake not too long ago, but was able to capitalize on the mistake that Seaberg made when he ran into him, get up and still maintain the race lead with Gatlin giving chase. You can see Moxie on the 34 and Seaberg, they're both actually closing up. Do either of them go for the quad? No, they're still going to both go for the uphill triple instead. Just try to carry their momentum around the outside here. Moxie very, very fast at the opening round, second fastest in qualifying. Almost had nothing to show for it. Really bad day for him as Seaberg's trying to attack on the 34. Not going to quite get it done, but look at that inside move as he's going to nearly pull alongside. Little dualies action, almost contact on landing as Seaberg gets chopped off as they tuck to the inside of the off camber. And Moxie for now holds the position. Jack Gatlin up ahead has got to keep some eyes in the back of his head right now. These guys are starting to close up on him. And right behind Seaberg, you'll see the 13 of Walter Gebhardt in picture every now and then. Gebhardt, your second fastest qualifier today, second in the championship standings entering behind Dickerson. Seaberg trying to square off. Oh, and Moxie goes down. Seaberg plows through him and continues on. So Moxie out of third, going to get going and still be in the 5 spot. But loses a lot of time now as Dickerson... oh, Lang has gone down. Lang down out of second as well. So a couple guys hitting the deck here. As first it was Moxie. Next up, Lang hits the deck. Lang's going to try to hold off Moxie. Almost contact and some front end lock there for Jordan Moxie. Not going to be too stoked with that. But maybe a touch aggressive just coming up on the down rider there. Lang could have tried to settle in and maybe set up a pass. Went down the inside. And they made slight contact. And for those of you that may be new to MX Simulator, front end lock, a feature of the game that game creator JLV, Josh Vanderhoof, installed into the game when punting was a large problem with the game. A lot of guys were just fifth gears sending into the side of people and getting no repercussions as they usually would not fall. So he instigated front end lock so when they hit someone, it would almost immediately tip them back over and usually cause them to fall off the bike as well. So again, that's kind of the penalty of it. And really in real life too, if you think about it, when you run into the back of someone's tire, the side of someone with your front tire, most of the time as Lang hits the deck again, most of the time your front tire comes to a complete stop, which really causes you to get off balance as it tries to regain traction going straight again. And it's not the easiest thing to recover from, but it may be a little bit heavy-handed these days as punting is almost non-existent in this game anymore in regards to the amplitude of which people are being hit, at least, wide open. It's not that often. So a lot of people calling for JLV to switch it up as we have obviously had a change for the lead with Lang going down, Gatlin to the front. Gebhardt trying to close it down there from second. Gebhardt, new to this Prestige Worldwide team, has dropped back down to the 250 division. If you remember in Supercross earlier this year, he raced for Active Co, started the season with System Decal, and then switched over to the Active Co team, and mid-season, while in the 450 class, won the Minneapolis Supercross. Only 4 riders won in the 450 division indoors this year. Walter Gebhardt has his name on that list of riders, then dropped down for the 250 East-West Showdown in Atlanta 2 weeks later, and did not have a race to remember and went back up to the 450 division. So now back down in the 250 class, racing the GPs, racing the Outdoor Nationals, and maybe trying to win a title on this littler division. To go to the lead here in Great Britain, he's got to go through Jack Gatlin of the Rockstar Energy Husqvarna Factory Racing Team. You can see those bumps coming into that inside line, really digging out. I feel like we're starting to get to that point of the race where guys are going to start searching around a little bit. You can already see how deep some of these sections are as Gebhardt is really applying the pressure here now. Gatlin gets sideways on the table, but got to be careful of what's coming up behind him here. Gebhardt going to try to peek outside, but nothing really developed yet there. Ends up hitting the middle line. I guess for Gebhardt's sake, the best case scenario here is just to maybe get as close to Gatlin as he can, and when he's too close, take a different line, just in case Gatlin falls. We saw already Lang with the race lead had a small tip over. Seberg just ran into him and fell off the bike himself, as there is a huge quad out of Gebhardt. Doesn't really gain him the time I think he was hoping for, but he's trying to use this outside line to his advantage, swinging all the way around the outside. Not going to have the angle into the corner on the inside, but as they go through the rhythm section here, he might have something as Gatlin cases the triple and goes down. Gebhardt to the race lead just like that. 11 minutes and some change into this thing, and a new leader in Great Britain. It is the 13 Prestige Worldwide machine of Walter Gebhardt, and he's got a good sized lead now to work with, as behind him, a little further back, actually Gatlin still remounts in second, so it was Seberg. Seberg must have gone down. Moxie up into third, Seberg back into fourth. Tyler Lang right here in fifth, so recovering well from his couple mistakes that he's had there. Thomas Wilcox up in sixth. Here's seventh, Logan Leitzel. Leitzel putting the pressure here on Wilcox. This would be for the sixth spot, and not too far up the road would be Tyler Lang either. Right behind these guys, well, not right behind, but a few seconds behind, may see Isaiah Dickerson lurking. So he's back in eighth and trying to salvage some points now with his closest championship rival leading the race right now, Walter Gebhardt. Leitzel really starting to apply the pressure. Oh, a little OJ, down he goes. And that is a tough spot to fall. See if he gets going before Hughes gets there. Hughes up and over the finish line jump. Leitzel trying to put the power back down and get away. Plenty of time before Jonathan Hughes gets there. And then Dylan Copeland on the 44 Taggart Designs machine is currently rounding out our top 10, as both these guys, Hughes and Copeland, struggling coming back onto the straightaway there. So Leitzel getting back up from a crash. Wilcox doing a little pirouette in the corner here. Has lost a position to Dickerson as well. So Dickerson on the march forward. Let's take a look at the lap times here. 2:19.5 last time by, putting the pressure on his teammate now, Tyler Lang. That would be for the 5 spot. Can't imagine Lang's going to put up a huge fight here, as they are obviously teammates, riding pals. And Lang not at the opening GP. Yeah, there you go. A little mistake on landing. Just moves aside. Dickerson goes through into the 5 spot. So 2:19.5 out of Dickerson. Let's take a look at our leaders comparison. Gebhardt up front, 2:21.7 and a 2:21.6 is best lap. So looks like we're right in about the prime sweet spot of the racetrack right now. Gebhardt out to a 13-second race lead, and just trying to put in a good moto right now to get away from everybody. And as long as he stays on 2 wheels, this race is pretty well wrapped up, but obviously that is not what is going to happen most MX Simulator races. I would care to wager nowadays, with the changing road systems on the racetrack, we'll see 2 or 3 fall-off crashes from each rider, as, oh, Gebhardt almost has a big one right there. Saves it, but does cut the inside of the track. So a fall-off crash, again, if you're new to MX Simulator, you don't actually entirely fall off the bike. Your hands never actually become detached from the motorcycle, but your legs do fall off the bike, and usually, depending on how long you tumble down a straightaway or down a hillside or something, a fall-off crash will range from anywhere to about 8 to 12 seconds in total from time of crash until back to about full speed. So if you're looking at a 14.5-second lead right now, basically as we can calculate that, that's at least one fall-off crash lead for Walter Gebhardt. If he were to have a big mistake and go down right now, at least he'd still get back up in the race lead. And that's usually how we can keep tabs of when those battles are developing, is you got a 10-second lead or not. Good chance someone might have a crash. Really open things up. Battle for third brewing right now. Gatland and Moxie. Oh, Moxie with a little run in there. Gets stood up in the corner, but Gatland runs wide. Coming up the uphill here. Moxie trying to square him up underneath. They do a little bit of cross action. Moxie tucks to the inside. Does he get the drive? That's going to almost end in tears right there. Moxie nearly sideswiping Gatland coming down the hill. Gatland just able to squeak back by. And these two gentlemen absolutely going for it. Trying to take over the third place position would be Moxie. Trying to hold on to that spot would be Jack Gatland. And they're both trailing Ben Seberg up ahead. Looks like everybody's kind of settled into just doing the uphill triple. Again, I'd expect that the quad would be something more we'll see the 450 guys do later on, as not only can they jump it, but they can stay a lot lower to the ground because they can either do a little kind of half scrub or whip, which these guys won't do. They have to seat bounce it to clear it. So it's very cool to see, but not as big of an advantage as you might expect. Ooh, Moxie almost ran wide on that rut, and he's got to be careful now as Dickerson on the 25 up to P5 on the racetrack and really starting to close it down now. Again, with Walter Gebhardt leading, this is essentially a damage control race for Dickerson. He may still have a shot to win if we start seeing some late race mistakes out of Gebhardt, but at the moment, it's a bit out there. Oh, and Seberg and Moxie are both down, so Dickerson's going to go into third, and suddenly Gatland right ahead of him there in second. So Dickerson gets a little bit of a gift right there, and he's trying to pull back a double whip right there as well. Absolutely rails that corner, hops out, and trying to apply the pressure now on Jack Gatland up ahead. Gatland and Seberg, the two teammates, kind of a pleasant surprise early on in this season is, holy cannolis, Alex Efforts, 7 months of Twitch Prime, he has just subscribed. That's incredible. Alex, are you kidding me, dude? That's awesome. Seriously, I really appreciate that, man. He comments that it is his longest relationship yet. Well, I'll take pride in that, although I feel a little bit for you, my friend. Whoa, Dickerson hops over top of Gatland and just plows him off the side of the track. Gatland had nowhere to go as he just almost got landed on, and suddenly Dickerson appeared alongside of him. What in the heck just happened right there? I don't know how Dickerson, A, landed that so deep in the flat and almost in the rollers as much as he went off of that tabletop, and B, basically just moved Jack Gatland out of the way. I mean, Gatland went flipping off the racetrack. That was pretty crazy right there. And yeah, if I can, I would be glad to pull up an instant replay as Jordan Moxie has just gone down again. So Dickerson takes advantage of an unsuspecting Jack Gatland and goes up to second. Oh, Walter Gebhardt getting whipped on right there. I think that may be Kyle Howard. Oh, and Gebhardt's gone down. What happened right there? He's blown the corner. He went way over the corner there, so he must have carried a little bit too much speed in, as we're going to go ahead right now and pull up that replay of that Dickerson crash. And let's go ahead and slow this one down for you guys. We'll go down to half speed this time so you can see Dickerson swinging around the outside, just carrying his momentum, launches down the tabletop. Gatlin, unsuspecting victim. Dickerson appears next to him and just plows him down. That was an insane maneuver, and somehow, some way, Dickerson was able to stay on 2 wheels now as we go back to live racing action. Gebhardt, after that mistake, now has a little bit less of a lead to work with, down to 13 seconds. And a 2:21 to a 2:23 last time by, so clawing away about 2 seconds a lap. And Dickerson really putting a charge on here. I said maybe about a lap ago, I didn't think Dickerson would have a shot at getting to Gebhardt before this is over, but at the moment, kind of proving me wrong. That early fall really put him at a disadvantage as he got together with our early hole shot award winner, Jonathan Hughes. But Dickerson really putting the bit between his teeth right here and trying to run down Walter Gebhardt. It's time, by the way, to do a top 10 run, or I should say a top 20 rundown. We're outdoors now, no more top 10 rundowns. And as they are the host of this series, and we always love giving them credit where credit's due, Race Factory Game is going to bring you this top 20 rundown here. Race number 1 of the MX2 class here at the RFGP of Great Britain. And I want to give a huge shout out to MMoon47, who just subscribed to a Twitch Prime sub. Be sure to drop that fat in chat and let me know how you're feeling tonight, buddy. So glad you could join us, and thank you so much for your subscription. Out front, it is Walter Gebhardt, Prestige Worldwide, on the number 13 ride, who has taken over the race lead about 10 minutes in and has not looked back ever since. Coming up behind him, though, about 13 seconds in the distance, Isaiah Dickerson, current points leader, after winning the RFGP of Argentina last week, comes in with the red plate on his front plate this week. And the number 25 MB Films rider is trying to close down right now on Walter Gebhardt if he can. Up in third, Jordan Moxie has had a roller coaster of a day, and we're not even through the first moto just yet. Moxie on the 34 Architect ride, just ahead of fellow countryman Ben Seberg on the 48 Rockstar Energy Husqvarna Factory racing machine. Just behind him, his teammate Jack Gatlin. So a couple Great Britain extraordinaires right here. Hometown race and trying to show off for the hometown crowd, if you will. And all three of these guys really tucked together. Back in P6 right now, it's Logan Leitzel on the DX3 number 26. Down through the first turn area. He is trying to give chase to that battle ahead. And Leitzel coming off a Hangtown to forget last week, deciding to race the GP this week. We'll see how he can fare moving forward in this one. Tyler Lang, early race leader, after he was gifted the race lead from that Dickerson and Hughes crash. He has drifted back now as a lapped rider going down right there. Lang, right here on the number 18 MB Films ride, picked himself up from a few crashes and is still right in the midst of this fight here as he runs in 7th. But probably kicking himself that he could at least had a podium shot on offer here today if he stayed on 2 wheels. As it were, it did not work out in his favor, but trying to hang tight. A little further back of him, Thomas Wilcox blows the outside rut there for C4 Designs Co., the number 159 machine. Putting in a solid moto right now in 8th, 40 seconds in the distance of our race leader, but not giving up on the fight to move forward. And 13 seconds behind him, our Racetech.com Whole Shot Award winner Jonathan Hughes on the 134 Architect machine. Always good with starts is Hughesy. Won a Supercross earlier this year at Denver. Does a little pirouette action there. Is going to lose a position to Craig Leak as Leak on the BPC number 11 goes up into 9th. And Hughes will round out our top 10, but maybe not for long. Trent Adams on the 323 DX3 machine, trying to go around the outside of him. See if he can slingshot around and scrub down the hill. Not quite. We'll come back to this battle, though. Dylan Copeland on the number 44 Tagger Designs ride is in 12th. Kevin Gonzalez, 53 of BPC, is in 13th. 14th for Jake Warden on the 59 Wildside Designs ride. Right behind him, Connor Wells on the 203 Odyssey MX ride is in 15th. 16th, Zoa Cross DX3 on the 47 ride. Pretty far back of that battle for 15th, so this may be as far as Cross can go in this moto, but we'll check back in at the end and see where he made it to. Dalton Plessinger on the 333. No team name, but putting in a moto out here in P17. Right behind him, Mikey Benedict on the 711 ride is in 18th. Christian Reed for Ride Life on the 354 runs in 19th. And rounding out our top 20 here, race number 1, 24, almost 25 minutes into race number 1 of the MX2 RFGP of Great Britain, it is Luke Sullivan on the 811 Transmoto machine. And that has been a top 20 rundown brought to you by RaceFactorGaming.com. Head over there, sign up today, and join us on the racetrack. So, just cresting that 25-minute mark of the moto, 5 minutes and 2 laps left in this one. Walter Gebhardt continues to lead the race, but that gap has come down since we last checked in, as Isaiah Dickerson's closed this thing down to about a 5-second race lead for Dickerson, and at this point, can't rule out that Dickerson might catch him on raw speed with about 5 laps left to go, 223 flat to a 232.2. So Gebhardt had a mistake last lap that really cost him. Whether or not it was a fall-off crash or not, it seems like it would have been with that time. But the times are coming up a little bit. 7.3 seconds is the lead. Dickerson has cleared lap traffic, and clear racetrack now resides between him and the race leader. Let's see if he can claw down that lead. As you can see, the line's coming into that corner very deep. All these guys really getting stood up in some of these corners by the chewed up racetrack that is circulating underneath them now. Down to 6.1 seconds. So Dickerson continues to close it down a little bit more. It looks like he is flowing his corners a little bit better than when we were on board with Walter Gebhardt a moment ago. Just on a pure points basis, after this moto is finished, it will actually give Walter Gebhardt the provisional championship lead. He'll go to the front by 1 point if you were to classify it per moto, but obviously there's still 1 left to go. And even this race in itself is not yet over, folks. Group of lappers coming up ahead of Walter Gebhardt. Will go on board with him. 222.9 last time by, so able to recover somewhat decently from that fall-off crash that he must have had a lap ago to be 10 seconds slower a lap right there. And just now has actually opened up the lead a little bit more out to over 7 seconds, so maybe he has regrouped. These lappers, though, going to be a problem. Christian Reed on the 354 right there, able to get out of the way. And Gebhardt now starting to use some alternate lines, as I touched on earlier in the moto. We'll start seeing this happening probably, yeah, I guess about this point in the moto is when we'll see guys really starting to search for some new areas to attack. And Gebhardt, was extending the lead, but that's going to cost him right there. Goes down, ends up behind Christian Reed once again. He's going to have to get back around him. He had the lead out to 8.4, but as you can see, down to 5.5. So Gebhardt, just when it looked like he was able to extend it back out a little bit more, made a mistake, and now actually it seems like Dickerson's made a mistake of his own, as he's 8.5 seconds down. So Dickerson trying to claw his way forward once again. 8.2 seconds. I don't think that it's going to be what Dickerson wants here. He obviously wants to win this race. It's going to be down to Gebhardt making a mistake at this point with the gap. This time by will be 3 to go. So I'm going to calculate the lap times out. We got about 7 minutes of racing left to go, even though we're almost at the 29-minute mark. We're going to get about a 36-minute moto in here today. So 28:53 on the clock. Gebhardt crosses the line once again, 3 to go. As next time by, the clock will have definitely expired unless Walter Gebhardt puts in a new lap record that will never, ever, ever be touched once again. Dickerson, I just don't think he's going to have it. Ooh, we got to change for third. Whoa, and just as I say that, Leitzel tries to cough it right back up, but Leitzel has done a masterful job to climb his way forward. Boner Air Leclerc over the finish line jump after sliding out, but follows it up with a nice steezy whip. So he redeemed himself there. He's really far ahead of Ben Seberg now, almost 20 seconds ahead of Seberg himself. So something must have happened there in this battle that we completely missed, trying to focus on our lead riders. Either way, it is a USA 1-2-3 on the hills of Great Britain. Just when at the beginning of the moto, it almost looked like someone like a Ben Seberg or a Jack Gatlin or even a Jordan Moxey or Jonathan Hughes, all these local British heroes, might have a shot at winning this thing. It is quickly unfolded to be not the case as the race developed and those riders continued to make some mistakes. Now we even have Wilcox up into 5th on the 159, so he's worked his way around Gatlin and Moxey. And it is still Gebhardt circulating in the lead out front. Let's try to find ourselves a battle right now. Nothing really doing. Gatlin and Lang with Moxey right here, pretty close. So this is a battle for 6th on the racetrack. Oh, Lang! Oh my goodness! And then Moxey just decides, I'm gonna cut the track. These lines are getting very deep, and these riders are starting to struggle a lot more with them. You can see them taking alternate lines coming down the hill. It gets really choppy on entry to that corner. Gatlin makes another couple mistakes. That's going to open the door for Lang and perhaps Moxey to go around as Gatlin tries to go around the outside. Going to be alongside of Moxey. Hangs on to the position over him, but did lose the spot to Lang in the process. Now Gatlin goes a little long and Moxey throws it into him. Moxey down, Gatlin on his side, but gets up still ahead of the number 34 ride. Wow, that quickly changed hands. And now going back to the battle for 9th as Dylan Copeland has Leak right behind him. Leak's going to hop over top of him as Copeland hits the deck. Should be getting going before Jonathan Hughes gets there. So really things kind of changing up here pretty quick. Just when I thought we may have a decent battle to watch, none of these guys have figured it out. So 2 laps remain. Time has expired. Walter Gebhardt has extended his lead even more, so something must have happened to Isaiah Dickerson at this point. Maybe a late fall or got involved with some lappers that caused a couple more seconds of issues than he expected, but here he is down by the mechanics area now, and a little bit of a mistake right there, but such a nice job at corralling it together. I'm always impressed with the current generation of MX Simulator talent. Their ability to save crashes and almost never lose time doing it. If they're going to save a crash, it's usually something that they can turn into a positive pretty quickly. You saw Dickerson kind of lose the front and the rear end on entry to the corner after the mechanics area. Just kind of planted in a little braking bump and then hopped down the inside of the track. Real smoothly done. Sometimes that stuff happens by chance, but when you get riders like this caliber on the racetrack, it's not always by chance. They can figure out ways to manipulate the bike and do things that most people in this game could only dream of. And that was a nice save there by Dickerson to corral it and continue on without having another crash in his pocket. So Gebhardt working his way through some more lap traffic here. Up ahead looks like it is the 59 machine of Jake Warden of Wildside Designs, who was in our top 20 rundown earlier on. He may still be there. Yeah, he is 16th. So Gebhardt has put on a very solid charge through the field with 2-minute plus lap times. Pretty impressive to get down this deep into the top 20. Gebhardt has just been very solid this entire moto. Really didn't have that great of a start. Remember when we first checked in on him, he was around the 6-7 spot. Took advantage of a couple mistakes. Remember Moxey, Seberg getting together one lap. Gebhardt got 2 positions for 1 essentially. And 1 lap board about to go out here as he's trying to get around Warden. Up and over the tabletop, down the inside, trying to just make the move. Warden being very stingy for a lapped rider here. But looks like Gebhardt's finally going to weasel his way around the outside of him and take that position away. Dickerson still 2nd, Leitzel 3rd, Seberg 4th. Wilcox kind of put on a late race charge here, but regardless of that, he just got passed. Tyler Lang down the inside makes the move, but then blows the inside rut. They're going to go side by side down this hill. And Lang from the outside is going to hold on, but makes a couple more mistakes and cannot clear the table. So Lang settles back into 6th. It is still Thomas Wilcox up in P5. And Wilcox up and over the finish line, taking that 1 lap board as well. Everybody's kind of just settled into a pace here. In fact, Leitzel is pretty close to Dickerson. Dickerson got to be real careful here not to have a fall-off crash. Oh my goodness, as he super straighters that jump right there. Well, thank you, Corbin Lenaway, C1 Way here in our chat for dropping in 15 biddies. I appreciate it, dude. I really do. So Dickerson has absolutely lost the touch here of Walter Gebhardt, who coming back with a vengeance this week. Really, really strong ride here, capitalizing on some early mistakes as mentioned. And talking about his team switch-ups and then jumping from 450 to 250, going outdoors this year. It may have looked like a stroke of pure genius by Gebhardt at this point to drop back down and try to win a championship, especially for Prestige Worldwide, who is also very well represented within the 450 division, not only in this GP series, but in the Race Factory Gaming Outdoor National Motocross Series. And they have set themselves up really well here for perhaps winning 2 titles this year. Down to the finish line, race number 1 in Great Britain belongs to Walter Gebhardt as he takes the victory ahead of his challenger here, Isaiah Dickerson. And with that, will technically speaking have regained the championship lead provisionally. We'll have to see what shakes down in Moto 2. Dickerson, a very valiant effort though, through a lot of mistakes and mishaps, still able to get 2nd. Oh, Leitzel got really close at the end and is going to get 3rd, 5.9 seconds down. We'll always have to keep an eye on cuts. I don't believe Dickerson would have had that much cuts, 5 seconds worth at least, but that, you never know, sometimes they do. Oh, looks like Lang and Gatlin have both got Wilcox, and Wilcox throwing caution to the wind goes down again. Gets plowed into by Christian Reed, but Jordan Moxey also slides through. Wilcox gets going, and he's got a lot of time behind him, but he may have just cost himself a few positions on the last lap when he was in 5th. Instead, Lang goes into the top 5 position. Gatlin ends up 6th. 7th right here will be Jordan Moxey. Wilcox down again right here in 8th. I mean, final corner, but still. Leak trying to challenge up from behind, not going to get there. And actually he's going to go down himself, so Leak out of 9th goes down. Copeland may have the advantage to go through here, and he will into 9th. Leak trying to get going and chase him down. And he is absolutely flying. Let's see if he just absolutely throws it into this last couple corners. Well, he's definitely trying to, but he's making a lot of mistakes, and Copeland just trying to stay steady Eddie through the final couple corners. Gets 9th place, beats Leak to the line, who throws it away with 2 corners to go. Jonathan Hughes, our Holshaw winner, he's going to bring it home in 11th. P12 for Trent Adams. You can hear the British fans going crazy right now as Hughes crosses the finish line. Trent Adams crosses the line right there in 12th, and 13th and final rider on the lead lap is Kevin Gonzalez of the BPC ride. So let's take a look at cuts. Did anything change in our top 10? No, it did not. Let's look a little further back of Gonzalez. We had Zoe Cross in 14th, 15th for Jake Warden, 16th for Connor Wells, 17th was Dalton Plessinger, 18th was Luke Sullivan, 19th was Christian Reed, and P20 and the final points paying position, Rasmus Eriksson, as he was able to just sneak by Austin Bear, who was 4 seconds in the distance at the end of the moto. And that is race 1 at round 2 of the RFGP Championship. We're going to go ahead and take a slight break as I exit the server, because this is a replay of that crash from earlier. Need to download someone's skins here who sent them to me a touch late in the day. Lovely stuff. Only the best here on stream. But of course, as we have now finished up a moto and now we have a little bit of time remaining before the next one, this is where I usually try to open it up to chat. And if anybody has any questions or wants something to discuss about, I'd be happy to do that right now. May Dixie Rec 12 or My Dixie Rec 12 says, what is this race? This is the RFGP Race Factor Gaming Grand Prix of Great Britain in Matterley Basin in MX Simulator, which is a simulation racing game of motocross and supercross. And this is round 2 of the series. This is the Pro North American Championship, so that's why you see a lot more of the American-based riders racing it. Let's see, what else we got? Cartman Season asks, what is my MXS NAAMA predictions? Well, that is a good question. I mean, obviously, you want to go with the guys that did well at the opening round. I think Adam Holm does really well at the opening few rounds of the season, the more harder pack type tracks. I think Holm would do pretty well. Want to see Colton Mitchell get back in the mix. Obviously, Leclerc has been looking pretty good. I think those guys will probably all do pretty well. And then the 250 class is all wide open. I mean, Dickerson, Gebhardt, as you've seen here racing today, have done pretty well. But throw someone into the mix like Sean Klein, who won the opener at Hangtown. And it is a really, really competitive field right now in both series, quite honestly. That's provided a fantastic bit of racing for us to watch. And excited to see what happens this week at the Paula National at Fox Raceway. Round number 2 of the series coming up on Wednesday evening. That will be May 22nd, 2019. And we'll look forward to that racing action on Wednesday. You guys won't want to miss that whatsoever. J Mayo 28815 asks, how did I feel about the IRL Hangtown results? How did I feel? I felt freaking stoked Ken Roxon won. It's just been such a long haul back to this kind of point in his career after the very dramatic arm injury, the second arm injury, getting his arm caught in Cooper Webb's swing arm at San Diego Supercross in 2018. To have such a long road all the way back and finally win an outdoor national overall was just, I thought, really cool to see. And then on the flip side, I was really impressed with seeing Cerullo to rebound as strongly as he did after the disappointment from the Vegas Supercross. We saw Joey Savacci get destroyed by Zach Osborne in 2017 and go outdoors and not ride that great. And I think he would admit that he did not have a great outdoor season that year either. So it's very, very awesome to see both of those guys like kind of get really emotional victories, really. That was pretty impressive for both of them. How do you feel about this RFGP series so far? I love it, Z Smith 981. I love the GPs so much. I've always enjoyed watching them. I've always enjoyed racing them in this game. So I love that these guys are putting on a GP series for us, and can't thank the Race Factor Gaming crew enough for hosting it again. Let's see. Who else have I missed? How do you have everyone set up? What kind of PC are you running? Do you have one PC for racing and other for skins? No, I have one PC overall, not for one for racing and one for skins. I have one drive for MX Simulator, my Windows install, and MX Simulator. All of that is on my 250 gigabyte solid state drive, and it takes up, I think I have 4 gigabytes of data remaining. And all it is my Windows install, which only takes up like, not even a gig, probably. And then literally everything else in MX Simulator. Everybody's skins, all these tracks, and it's a ton. But my computer, since you asked, is a i7 8700K with a GTX 1080 Ti, I think, processor. I don't know. I'd have to go back and look at my specs. I think I have 8 gigabytes of RAM. It's been a while. We built the PC like a year and a half ago now. Something in that area, though. It's a good PC, I promise you. And, by the way, it was built, or sent, the components were sent to me, I should say, by VersusPC. So VersusPC, proud sponsor of Start Your Systems and of this series, as they are the title sponsor of the RFGP series of 2019. Parade lap for moto number 2 in the MX2 class getting underway here. These guys going out there and seeing the track one last time. Continuing on with our chats here in the chat room. Gatlin asked, did I get the skins? Yes, I did. Mulok22 wants to know, what are my thoughts on Covington? Dude, not good. I don't get it. I really don't. You have Hunter Lawrence and Thomas Covington, who, in all intents and purposes, were pretty equal last year in the GPs. Similar speed, similar results, in all honesty, as well. Covington maybe even a little bit better. And I get that he had a bad Supercross season and it really stifled his confidence, but I almost feel like there's something more at play here. Qualifies 25th, finishes outside the points in the first moto, only was able to salvage, I think, a 20th in the second moto. I don't get it. I really don't. But I just hope for Tomcat's sake that if there is something more than we know going wrong, an injury, something mentally that's holding him up, because this is looking really, really bad for his career if he can't quite figure it out going further in the series. But I hope the best for him. Here we go, folks. It is time for race 2 of the MX2 division at the RFGP of Great Britain in Matterley Basin. Moto number 1 winner Walter Gebhardt lined up down the inside alongside of Isaiah Dickerson. We're going to keep an eye on Race Tech Holshot Award winner Jonathan Hughes from race number 1. As the board goes sideways, the revs go up. It's time to drop the gate here in Great Britain. Launching off down the middle. Plessinger on the 333 is going to get to the corner first as Hughes got hit and T-boned. But the Race Tech Holshot Award goes to Isaiah Dickerson on the number 25, just ahead of Ben Seberg. Seberg lays it down on the inside and causes a stack up of epic proportions. Lots of guys getting folded up down there. And Seberg, for his case, loses a few positions as Trent Adams goes into second. So it's Adams, Wells, Bear, Gebhardt, Seberg, Cross, Leak blocks him, and Moxie with Mikey Benedict right behind them, as this is an absolute freight train on this first lap, as it always is. Isaiah Dickerson out front, though. You think he wants some revenge from that first moto with a start like that? Big hole shot down the inside. Gebhardt, for his sake, is in third, so this is going to be a fun one to watch if Gebhardt can quickly get around Trent Adams here. Adams has got himself a really good start here as well. And of course, in his sake, he is going to try to stick with this group. Gebhardt and Seberg right behind him, though. A little mistake from Gebhardt. But again, that's what I'm talking about. Those little mistakes. He lost the rear end, but it almost set him up for the next corner better. It's like they always make the best of these really intricate situations. And only guys of these caliber can figure out ways to do that. Seberg putting the pressure on Gebhardt right now. Look at this, trying to go down the inside. Gebhardt almost loses the front end on entry. And Adams swings wide. This may be the door open for Gebhardt. Is it going to go side by side? Adams crosses over, and Seberg is going to try an inside move. They almost pull alongside. And just like that, Ben Seberg up into third. So Trent Adams goes from second to fourth in a couple corners. But again, just trying to make do with a really good start as the 323 machine as Dickerson leads lap number 1. And Gebhardt far from out of the waters as Seberg putting the pressure on here. This looks a lot like the Seberg in Moto 1 that we saw at the beginning. Really flying. Let's see if he can turn this into a really, really solid result here in this second moto. Swings around the outside, then cuts back underneath, trying to get the drive down by the mechanics area, but Gebhardt has the better line dropping down the hill. Down to the bottom here, swinging around And back up the hill. Ooh, Seberg almost right into the back of Walter Gebhardt there. .5 second lead already for Dickerson, so he has really stretched it out already. For this early in the race, only 3 minutes in to have that big of a gap. Basically every minute that goes by, he's extended it by another second. Keep up that rate, you have yourself a 30-second lead by the end of the moto. But as we know with MX Simulator, these guys still definitely have the possibility of going down. Ooh, big quad line out of Gebhardt. He gets the quad. Seberg stays lower. Again, kind of works out pretty evenly though when you really break it down. Into the roller section we go, little rhythm lane here. Nobody electing to go outside and triple in. Double, triple, double through there is the best. Seberg still really harshly applying the pressure here to Gebhardt. Actually, let's go on board with him. Oh, he's going to make the move! So just like that, Gebhardt loses a spot. Back to 30 goes, and now we'll go on board with the 13 machine. Gebhardt trying to stay low up on the tabletop, tucks down to the inside, and gets hung up in the corner a little bit. So Seberg actually looking like the man on the move right here. So Gebhardt loses 2 seconds that last lap alone to Seberg, who did a 2:21.6 to a 2:23 of Dickerson out front. So Seberg just trying to go with Dickerson. Big shout out KR Money, subscribing to a tier 1 sub. Appreciate it, dude. Be sure to drop the fat in chat. Let me know how you're feeling tonight, buddy. And Dickerson just looks really good here today. That charge in the first moto was pretty mental. I know it fell apart late, but still. Seberg trying to keep him honest, though. That would be huge for Ben Seberg here in front of the home crowd. Bring home a victory. There you are, KR Money dropping the fat in chat. Good old Fathry. Ooh, Alex Efforts providing us an update from inside of the server. I have not checked out chat yet, but supposedly chat going absolutely mental as there was no red flag scenario presented when Matt Model's game crashed. Obviously, for the most part, Race Factory does a nice job of red flagging races when there is unfortunate PC issues that arise. But within recent years as well, they've also instigated the rule of your PC is your own deal, and in a lot of cases, Colton Mitchell had a lot of PC issues in Supercross, and yeah, that was just unfortunately on him. But usually at the beginning of the motos, they try to do that, so not sure whether or not that was just a rule book decision by our race hosts, or if they had a reason to why they would not do that. Regardless, pretty deep in the moto at this point to throw a red flag, so I think that the argument might be moot at this point for Matt Model and his crew. Although I feel his pain and unfortunes. Still Dickerson from Seberg and Gebhardt back here in fourth. Zoa Cross making the best of his second moto effort right now. Not a very good first moto right there for Zoa Cross by his standards, I would say. Not to say it's a bad moto overall, but I think the 47 machine expects himself to be a little further up in the running, and that first moto just unfortunately in his case was not as good as he would have probably hoped. So this moto trying to do a good job of turning it around, and a good start can definitely help his case right here. Right behind him, though, Craig Leak on the number 11. So Zoa Cross right now looking at 14-4 scores. And it's amazing how long a good second moto can go in helping you out points-wise in a championship scenario, but also overall results-wise. I can remember many a days in my time racing this game on the professional level, I would have a pretty bad first moto, say a 16th. In fact, I can remember Glen Helen one year. I did 16th Moto 1 and 5th Moto 2. It gave me 8th overall, despite a 16th in the first moto, so definitely these guys want to make the most of that second moto opportunity when they have a chance. Oh, Dickerson getting stood up on a rut there. Ride King wants to know, how do you get the cameras in the server? So you will not end up actually getting cameras that I have, but there should be a set of cameras on the default track. I've just made a custom set here. What you do is you go into the game, if you're in a server, find somebody else, like scroll to somebody else by, you know, clicking forward or backward through your rider selection list. Once you're on them, tab until you're in free cam, and you'll just have a camera view from like basically hovering above the gate. Hit your sit dab key, which on me it's A, but for you it might be like clicking in the thumbstick or something like that. It'll lock onto the rider and you'll see them moseying around the track on the other side of the racetrack. Then you have to make sure your number lock is on your keypad, and just hit 1, or really you have to just hit any button, but usually 1 will set the cameras to default, and you'll have cameras playing and you're locked onto a rider there. But I can at any time come unlock to a rider like right now, and Isaiah Dickerson will go through. We'll take a look at the gap, as this is a pretty good opportunity to do so. You can see Dickerson back there. You can also go back to free cam at any time you want just by hitting 0 on the number pad, and it defaults back to the camera, so you can see our riders going through right here. I can hover around the racetrack if I want, and we'll go ahead and find Isaiah Dickerson going through. He is coming through right here. We'll follow him around for a minute from free cam. Dickerson doing a masterful job here of making this track look way easier than it is. And then whenever you want to go back to cameras when you're in free cam, you just hit 1 on the number pad and sit tab again, and you're back on our race leader, Isaiah Dickerson. So that's a quick little cameras tutorial. If you want a more in-depth one, head over to startyoursystems.com and click on the search by playlist function in our videos section, and you'll find MX Simulator tutorials. There you will also find a tutorial about cameras that yours truly put together about 3 years ago. It's been a while. Isaiah Dickerson checks in on lap number 6, still race leader by about 15 seconds. Gebhardt trying to give chase as our camera has a little bit of a freak out there for a second. Seberg still sits 3rd. How about it for Trent Adams, back up to 4th, so disposed of his teammate Zoa Cross and has moved back into the 4th position. Little mistake there in the final corner, but Adams putting together a very solid moto. Kind of the surprise of the GP campaign for me thus far. Almost inside of the top 10 last week, now runs well inside of the top 10 here in race 2 at Great Britain. Craig Leak in the background, trying to give chase. Holy cow! KR Money gives 10 Tier 1 subs to the community. So welcome to the group: J Mayo, TW 103 Sunnyvale, Tyler Mack 119, Bingo My Dingo. Holy cow, that's a lot of people. Nathan James, Kyle Wolf, U-Air, Mulak 22, Ponix, and Gabriel Pileggi 92, all dropping in the subs. And we are just getting loads of new subs as we're getting new sub notifications. Yeah, let's see a wall of fats here.
It's only a game.
We got to have the fat wall of fame now, as we have had an absolute legend, KR Money. Talk about KR Money, man. He's coming through in the clutch with the tier 1 gifted subs. Look at the fat wall in chat, man. You guys are the damn best. I love you guys. And now Squiddy jumps in. Jeremy Scalbro. Thanks, buddy. Jumping in with a tier 1 sub, and we still got the wall of fat coming in.
It's only a game.
Look at all these notifications coming through. We still have 3 more notifications about to drop. Mulak, Ponix, and Gabriel Pileggi 92 should be the next subscriber notifications dropping on the screen.
It's only a game. Why you have to be mad?
A wall of subs. Man, seriously, thank you, KR Money. KR for Ken Roxon, maybe? I wish. That's so cool of you, though, man. I really appreciate it.
Why you have to be mad?
Dickerson continues to lead. Gebhardt's second. Third for Seaberg. Fourth for Trent Adams. And fifth for Zoa Cross. So
Why you have to be mad?
Devin Davis's DX3 team putting in the work out here right now. Oh, Trent Adams loses the front wheel over the rut in the final corner, but somehow, despite sliding his face across the ground there, stays on 2 wheels as Squiddy's sub comes through finally. And I appreciate you guys so much. I can't thank you guys enough. Every single one of you that shows up to watch these races, it's always a great time to have a lively chat and audience always joining us on the live broadcast on startyoursystems.com/live or twitch.com/startyoursystemstv. But then you have a true legend like KR Money dropping by and just handing out the subs like it's free candy at the fairgrounds. It's absolutely legendary, and I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, dude. So that battle between the teammates was slowly materializing and has quickly gone back apart. How about Luke Sullivan? Sullivan was 20th in our top 20 rundown, Race Factor Gaming top 20 rundown in Moto number 1. Instead, here he is running in 6th and putting the pressure on Adams for 5th. So the 811 Trans Moto rider is really putting on a solid second moto here, as is the case with a lot of guys right now. Zoa Cross and Trent Adams, both of them also putting on a solid ride. Trent Adams in our first moto was 12th. Luke Sullivan ended up 18th, and they're all 3 inside of the top 10 with Zoa Cross. Craig Leak trying to go forward for BPC. He was 10th in moto number 1.
Well, I'm swiped from mine, as I said.
It's probably our closest battle right now inside of the top 10 is this grouping of 4 riders. We'll go back and see Jack Gatlin and Jordan Moxie rounding out our top 10. Actually, it'd be a pretty good time with the gaps as split as they are to do a top 20 rundown. This time, we'll bring it to you from the folks at MV Films as the race leader is bringing you his red plates to the front of the field. Isaiah Dickerson of MV Films continues to lead here. Matterly Bazin, 16 minutes, almost 17 minutes into this one, and really has just never looked back after getting the whole shot. He may lead this thing wire to wire at this rate. No real challenge from Gebhardt. Gebhardt continues to make a couple mistakes. Dickerson has a decent-sized lead, but Gebhardt is keeping it honest just in case of mistake. We still have some time left to play here. Second right now, though, as mentioned, Walter Gebhardt, Moto 1 winner for Prestige Worldwide on the number 13. Not much to say other than a start or an early pass, I should say, for second would have really helped his case. I know he got into second with only about a 4 or 5 second lead for Dickerson, but then had a little tussle there for a while with Ben Seaberg. Eventually got around him and dropped him. Now sits 8.6 seconds behind our race leader and has a lot left to do in this moto. Ben Seaberg has since dropped back decent bit now, I would say. About 25 seconds behind our race leader, Isaiah Dickerson. Probably a couple crashes helped that case, but definitely some mistakes and slide outs have added up against his favor. And he's lost touch with our lead group, but still pretty much all alone in third. And surprise, surprise right now, the moto is P4 Luke Sullivan from 18th in race 1 to 4th right now for Transmoto. The 811 rider looking very solid right now and continuing to charge forward as he is bringing Craig Leake on the number 11 BPC ride with them as they have moved around. The DX3 teammates have moved up into 4th and 5th. We go back and see the first of the DX3 riders. Zoa Cross is in 6th on the 47. He's going to go down, so that'll give 6th to Trent Adams, his teammate, on the 323 ride. Right behind Adams as Adams absolutely sends the quad. Right behind him, though, is Jordan Moxie, Architect number 34. He is back in 7th and trying to move into 6th, actually. Stick with this for just a second, but it looks like it's going to stifle. Back to Zoa Cross in 8th on the 47. And 9th, Thomas Wilcox on the 159 C4 Designs ride. Going to lose a little bit of ground there as he's missed the rhythm lane. P10 for Tyler Lang on the number 18 MV Films machine. He was a race leader in race 1, but has not had as much positive fortune in this second moto, as he's actually going to go up to P9 around Trent Adams, who has unfortunately crashed his way back into 10th at this point and is trying to hang on tight, tighten the sphincter, and not fall further back than the position he finished in Moto 1, which was 12th. We go back to 11th right now. It's BPC's Kevin Gonzalez, who has had a pretty decent day, I would say. Probably wants to get inside of the top 10, but 14th, I believe it was in the first moto, or 13th, I should say, 11th now. Just consistent day out of Gonzalez. Doesn't get much better than that. Back to 12th for Jack Gatlin on the 97. Rockstar Energy Husqvarna ride just ahead of Logan Leitzel, who was 3rd in our first moto on the 26th. So this is where we're seeing guys who had good first motos struggling. Gatlin goes down. Leitzel, who was 3rd, moves up to 12th now, and he's trying to continue his march forward. Gatlin gets going. He is still in 13th. Here's 14th, Austin Bear for Hemlock, who had the unfortunate title of getting no points in the first moto, the first guy to not get points. Only lost out on that position by about 4 seconds in the end. He runs in 14th right now. 15th for Rasmus Eriksson, who did get by Austin Bear to take that final point. And he is well and truly in the points right now in 15th. 16th, Christian Reed for Ride Life. Little problem there, but corrals it together and goes across the line. Oh, that was sketchy right there. 17th, Connor Wells, Odyssey MX on the 203. 18th right here is Brandon Holmes for Anschutz. 19th for Jake Warden on the Wildside Designs number 59. And 20th, and the final points paying position at the moment, is Dylan Copeland for Tagger Designs. And that, oh, Copeland. Oh, I thought he was going to bring that back. That would have been sick. That was a huge whip. But that has been a top 20 rundown brought to you by the folks at MV Films, as the man himself, Isaiah Dickerson, continues to lead 21 minutes and some change here into race number 2 in Matterley Basin. Gebhardt keeping him honest. I will say that much. Let's actually take a look at the lap times last time by 2:21.1 to a 2:19.2. So Gebhardt actually put in his best lap of the race thus far. Has this thing down to about 8 seconds. Still some lap traffic could be in play here for Dickerson. Little mistake there from Gebhardt. He is, just as we got on board with him, really started to make some more mistakes that have hurt his case here. Ooh, really close there with the 349 going a lap down. That would be Garrett Beasley. He just put a lap down right there. 9.2 seconds now is the gap, so we're starting to get into that range. If you remember my discussion from Moto 1, where a fall-off crash for Isaiah Dickerson would not even cost him the race lead. You know, the real problem about that uphill quad for these 250Fs, not so much the seat bouncing anymore, it's that they have to land with the gas off because they're landing so hard because of how high they go. I'd imagine that's something in the 450 class we just won't see that much. I think a lot more guys will be able to scrub it down and still land in the sweet spot while landing on the gas and carrying the momentum. These 250 guys, if they land on the throttle, are in real big danger of actually falling off the bike. One of the tricks that these guys tend to use when they don't want to fall off the bike by over jumping something or casing something really hard. Oh, microphone just fell. One of the things that these guys end up doing is landing on the front end really heavily. So they will sit down and land really hard on the nose of the bike, usually shift up a couple times and land with the clutch in. And what that does is basically make it so that the suspension soaks up everything and the body doesn't have any sort of weird rebound that kicks them down off the bike. So yeah, last lap time through 21.3 to a 19.6, so Dickerson has really figured this thing out front right now. Really nothing Gebhardt can do about it at this point. The gap stayed pretty consistent. Tyler Lang back here. Zoe Cross, Luke Sullivan, Thomas Wilcox. Oh boy, oh my goodness, KR Money gifting 12 more tier 1 subs to the community. Incredible. We definitely need a fat wall of fame right there. That is incredible. Thank you, KR Money. I can't thank you enough. Dude, you're a legend. That's incredible. Thank you so much, and welcome to the subscriber community. T-Doll, Trey 22 more, Z Smith 981, Kyle Miller 729, MX Stiley, Ride King, A Maroney 49, MX Kyle, Pantera 644, Zone 03, Trevor 92, and Muzarto, all getting gifted a sub. And look at the fat wall of fame right there. I love it. Look at all these beautiful subscribers. You guys are incredible. And thank you so much, KR Money. That is awesome. You are the true legend of the stream tonight. If you have any requests that you would like to see or anything you want me to do, I mean, oh my goodness. Yeah, so these subs still coming through as we continue to watch the racing action. And again, welcome everybody to the subscriber community here on SYS.
It's only game.
And they just keep on coming. It's like the song All Star by Smash Mouth, but they don't stop coming.
It's only game.
Look that up on YouTube for a fun time. All right, 26 minutes and some change into this moto here.
It's only game.
Isaiah Dickerson continues to lead as Zone 03 sub comes through. Next up, Trevor 92 about to be featured on the stream. And we'll wrap it up with Muzarto.
It's only game. Why do you have to be mad?
It's actually interesting when the subscribers come through that the alert box takes so long when they're gifted subs in a wall like that to come through. But
it's only game. Why you have to
I don't know. I guess that's how Twitch sets it up sometimes. So again, thank you so freaking much. KR Money, like, you are the legend, dude. Incredible stuff. Like, I can't thank you enough for how much I appreciate that. And it helps a lot more than you think. So Dickerson still leading. Gebhardt is in second. Seaberg third. Tyler Lang up to fourth. So Lang has made some passes. Moxie is in fifth. Cross up to sixth. Wilcox up to seventh. Luke Sullivan, who was in fourth, has gone back to eighth. So not exactly what the 811 machine probably wanted to have happen here, but regardless, I don't think he can be too disappointed with the moto as is after finishing 18th in moto number 1. Now runs really comfortably inside of the top 10 still in moto number 2. Despite a mistake, still has this thing pretty comfortably on lock at the moment. Oops. Battle for 9th, maybe? Maybe there is. Let's find out. Golly. P9 right now. 13, 12, 11, 10, 9. It's Craig Leake and Kevin Gonzalez battling it out. A couple teammates, actually, so sure that they're just trying to put in some motos together. Another day at the practice track, really. Craig Leake is a tremendous talent outdoors, and what you're seeing here in these GP races is really not a testament to how good he is outdoors. Sure, we'll see him rebound really well this week at the Paula National, coming up on Wednesday night. Oh, as they get together and both go down. And around the outside goes Trent Adams. They're going to get up together. That is not what you want to see out of teammates right there at all. And I'm sure Craig Leake's not going to be exactly thrilled about that situation. We have an update from chat. Kyle Miller says leader has gone down. So leader down, Dickerson. Looks like he has still got a pretty sizable gap working here. As Gebhardt trying to work through traffic. Seaberg distant in 3rd. Lang 4th. 5th, Moxie. 6th, Wilcox. So Wilcox busting the quad long too. Pretty close right here to Jordan Moxie. That could be a battle brewing. Keep an eye on this one for a second. Oh, mistake out of Wilcox. Jumping off the side of the track there. That could be dangerous. So Moxie trying to settle into a bit of a groove here. Seems like it's relatively the closest battle. Will Zoe Cross actually trying to close it down on Luke Sullivan? This could be a good one. Cross and Sullivan have been pretty close together, basically all moto at this point. We'll have to keep an eye on what develops here. Oh, and they're gonna get together and both go down. Looks like Sullivan wasn't quite able to get all the way over the jump, or maybe Cross just was gonna go way long. Whatever happened right there, there was definitely some contact.
As I said.
And Cross gonna have to go back to work here. Shout out Kyle Miller 729 just told me a cool story in chat. Says he's watched my videos when he was 11. Now he's 14. It's crazy that he watched the first ever video 2 days after the channel started. Been here since like 100 subs. That is so cool, Kyle. I love hearing stories like that. you know, a lot of people come up to me and say, dude, the channel's grown so much, it's so big. And like, honestly, I don't even feel that way about it, because I still feel like there's such a really good core audience and group of people like you guys that come out, hang out and watch the streams and comment on the videos and stuff like that. And that audience is by far my favorite part of this whole process of making videos for you guys, is having this good close connection with you guys, because it's just so much fun making awesome content for the people that appreciate it like you guys. And I can't thank you guys that have been around long enough to see all of it develop. It's really cool, like you said, Kyle, that you've been around that long, man. It's awesome, and I really appreciate it. White flag out right now here on a victory once again for Isaiah Dickerson. So it's even swing of points here today. Gebhardt, who had a pretty good first moto win. I know that it wasn't necessarily going around Dickerson or anything like that, but he made a lot of passes to do it. Got a pretty big lead opened up, and before long, he had a win well in his grasp. Now, oh, is Dickerson's going to go down? Does this open the door of opportunity up here on the last lap? Gebhardt still has a long ways to go. Yeah, I don't think he's going to have another chance. I think Gebhardt must have like one more fall off or something like that, because it really opened up quite a bit those last couple laps there. So Dickerson remounts, still in the race lead. Gebhardt now at least can kind of see him, or at least know that the gap's come down, as he saw it drop quite a bit there. And yeah, Dickerson just going off at the top of the hill there. Couple more mistakes. This thing could get real interesting. Dickerson now wisely taking lines that are maybe a little bit easier as he cases the triple. Oh man. Just as I was talking about Dickerson able to equalize the points on the day, this would swing it entirely in the other direction if he has a late race mistake here again. Gap down to 4.3 seconds, and again, cuts. You always have to talk about cuts coming into play. Under 4 seconds now is the lead. Couple corners left to go. A couple mistakes for Dickerson, and Gebhardt absolutely ripping right behind him. Oh, Dickerson's got to be sweating this one out. Final couple corners. GP of Great Britain decided in the last two right here as Dickerson goes through. One corner to go. Oh, he's getting a little hung up, but to the line, Isaiah Dickerson wins at Matterley Basin. 2-1 versus a 1-2 for Gebhardt. It's an equalizer on the day, but at the overall victory, and the top step of the podium will belong to Isaiah Dickerson, his second GP win of the season from 2 rounds, and will maintain that red plate by just a mere 2 points over Walter Gebhardt moving into next week. Ben Seberg is desperately trying to hold on to third here, as Tyler Lang is applying the pressure from behind. And Lapper is coming into play a little bit here, is down the inside there. Can't quite get the numbers at 148. Brandon Holmes by the looks of it. Lang really closes up down the inside. Oh, and they'll get into Holmes, and Holmes gets punted by Seberg and takes Lang down. That is going to be it for Lang, who's going to get up in fourth. Just a victim of circumstance. Lang not very happy with Holmes, but I mean, really, Holmes did nothing wrong there. He was just trying to avoid two guys going in two different directions, and Holmes just got absolutely plowed into by Ben Seberg and into the side of Tyler Lang. I mean, that just is, in my opinion, incidental contact, but I can understand the frustrations from Tyler Lang, who thought he may have had third there. Instead, it's going to go to Seberg. Moxie comes across in fifth, and overalls are going to be all over the place here. Seberg looks like he will end up third overall and end up on the podium, to the British fans' delight. Wilcox coming through here. Looks like he's going to get fourth wrapped up, no problem. Or I should say sixth, not fourth. Had fourth on the mind. Kevin Gonzalez and Zoe Cross coming into the final couple corners. Zoe Cross landing sideways, 360. Oh, almost landed it. Well, now this is going to get interesting. Is he going to get up before his teammate Trent Adams gets there? Zoe Cross is facing the wrong way. He's trying to get turned around. Adams lands and comes into the corner, but blows it and goes down himself. So just like that, It opens up the gap once again for Zoe Cross to come across the line in 8th. Looks like Trent Adams is going to pick up 9th, and Craig Leake should be 10th here. 11th will be Luke Sullivan. Oh, maybe. Ooh, hold on to her there, Luke. And 12th, Jack Gatlin, who had a maybe a moto to forget here. Jumping off the side of the track there. Austin Bear lap down in 13th. 14th was Christian Reed. 15th, Jake Warden. 16th, Rasmus Eriksson. 17th, Brandon Holmes. 18th, Connor Wells. 19th, Dylan Copeland. And 20th was Garrett Beasley. As change of position, let's see, did anything happen? Nope, it all stays the same. So Dickerson claims victory in Great Britain. 2 for 2 to start the season. Red Plate continuing on next week and into Valkenswaard. And we will see you guys then. Thanks so much for joining us for the 250 action here in the MX2 division at Matterley Basin. Coming up next, we'll be streaming the 450 class, so don't touch that URL bar. We'll be right back on the other side of this quick break.